Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And I'm sitting here on this beautiful Sunday evening, my favorite day of the week, and I'm gonna take off my shoes. My husband has been upstairs relaxing and he just ordered some, I think, DoorDash or something from Whole Foods. He got all kinds of snacks. And I'm gonna do a little, I'm like such a positive, great mood. Had the book club earlier today. It's beautiful outside. It was like almost 80 degrees today in Indianapolis, and I'm in such a fantastic mood. So why not a meditation? Since it is late in the day, it is currently 7:08 p.m., I'm gonna read from Nightlight by Amy Dean, a book of nighttime meditations by Hazelden Meditations. You know what? I need to tonight, I'm gonna do this. Well, first of all, I need you tonight get on Hazelden Meditations and order some new books. So I'm gonna do that tonight. But tomorrow, don't forget to read up to chapter 1 because tomorrow starts Magic by Rhonda Byrne. It's like right over there, or I would go grab it. But you can watch my previous video where I talked about it. We are going to start Magic by Rhonda Byrne tomorrow, so make sure that you read up to chapter 1, and then tomorrow or up to day 1, and then tomorrow is day 1 with the Magic book. I'm so excited to start that. I just was so happy the last time that I did it that I'm really excited about starting it again. So I'll probably be talking about that a little bit every single day. And I'll probably be talking about it more on my vlog. So follow my vlog as well. All right, November 8th. Let me put on my reading glasses. Dun, dun, dun. November 8th. I have no idea what this is going to be about. The best prayers have often more groans than words. John Bunyan. November 8th. Sometimes we may find it difficult to put into words the thought we'd like to send to our higher power. After a day filled with a wide array of emotions, we may find it difficult to summarize in our evening prayers words that will convey our deepest thoughts and innermost reflections. Rather than attempt to find the words, we can use actions and thoughts to communicate. Our prayers can be filled with visualizations of how we'd like things to be. Our prayers can be a time to cry or yell. However we're feeling tonight, there's no set of rules for prayer form. We don't have to say, higher power, I'm in pain. We can cry and just as easily and clearly communicate hurt and pain. Unlike people, our higher power is a mind reader who always knows how we feel and what we need. Tonight, I don't have to struggle to find the right words for my prayers. How I feel is my best prayer. I love this meditation. You know, it's interesting because every time that I want to talk about something to do with like God consciousness or God moments or higher power or whatever over here, I'm always very like protective of the person that has no belief system in place, that, you know, is more agnostic or atheist, typically the atheists that watch my channel over here, because I feel like, you know, you belong over here too and you have a place. So I always am very protective of that. But I think because this meditation is very pointed to a God consciousness kind of thing, I want to address that today. Someone said, they asked me a question, I think it was on my vlog yesterday, and they said, what is your definition or your idea of religion? Religion to me is a set of doctrines that a certain church or belief system puts out, and, you know, it doesn't have to be a church, obviously, temple, whatever, but an organization of people, a group of people, put out that say this is what we believe in, and if you follow with us, then you follow these belief systems. I don't consider myself a religious person. I consider myself a spiritual person. There's a recovery saying, a recovery motto, that says that religion is for people that are afraid of going to hell, and spirituality is for people that have already been there. Meaning that spirituality is kind of almost like the salvation of the soul, so to speak. And I believe that I'm more of kind of like a freelance spirit, so to speak. That I like to pick and choose from different spiritual and religious backgrounds, the things that I believe in, that I don't pertain to any one religious belief, right? And that's kind of what I believe. I've talked a lot about it over here. Years and years and years ago, there was a book that came out. There was actually a set of books now. I think there's 3 or 4 of them in the series called Conversations with God. My mother read all the books. She loved them. I don't even know how much of the first one I read. I should actually read it because I think I may have only made it like through a couple chapters, or I may have read the whole thing. I don't remember. I have them all in the basement. But I'm like, does my husband have the light on up there? But anyway, I was like, is that God with the light or is that my husband with the light on upstairs? We got all new bedding, so go check out my vlog from the other day because our bed is so comfy cozy now. But anyway, I remember like having lots of conversations with my mom at that time about this whole idea of having conversations with your higher power, you know, and this whole idea that, you know, and I've talked a lot about this and with my recovering friends as well, that there's, you know, when you're having a conversation with a human being, right, that you're talking and they're hopefully, that you're talking and they're listening and they're responding and you're listening and then you respond. And that's how a conversation goes back and forth. Well, I believe that my higher power and I have conversations as well like that, right? And that part of my job is to, if I'm going to have a conversation with my higher power, have communication with my higher power, that my job is not just to beg and plead and, you know, please do this and please fix that and please do this, right? But that a lot of my prayer communication is also about listening. And listening to what my higher power is saying to me, you know? And I can, you know, there have been several moments in my life where I've prayed on stuff. Like all of my sponsors in my life have been big on saying, you know, pray on it and go to sleep. Where I'll pray on it on a very deep level, you know, like a decision that I have to make in my life, and then I go to bed. And in the morning, typically I wake up and I have a pretty, like, I feel pretty strongly about like what I feel like I'm supposed to do. And I feel like that's God speaking through me. I feel like God speaks through people in my life. So, you know, there's those moments where I have really learned in the last couple years, and this is why I think I really enjoy silence a lot, sometimes driving around in the car and not listening to no music, no audiobooks, but just listening in silence, and kind of having conversations inside my head. I feel like a lot of the conversations that I have with myself are actually, I don't know, maybe me more having a conversation with a higher power, if that makes sense. I'm also a big believer in God moments, and what I mean by God moments, and with quotations around them, is when something happens and you're like, whew, that was like a God moment. Like that feels like a very spiritual thing that just happened, you know, where it's like a chance encounter with somebody that you just happened to see that you hadn't seen in a long time. Or something happens that you didn't expect, or, you know, there's like a really positive thing happens. Look, those are God moments, right? You know, there is this, if it's not a parable, I wouldn't necessarily say a joke, but I think it kind of is a joke. But there's this recovery parable, and the recovery parable is there's this guy, and he's out in the middle of the ocean, and he's drowning, right? And he's like, God, please save me. God, please save me. And this boat comes by with these two people on it. And they're like, get in, get in. And he's like, no, I prayed to God. God's going to save me. So they keep on going by. And he's like drowning. He's like, God, please save me. Please save me. And this helicopter comes over and they put a ladder down. And they're like, climb up, climb up. And he's like, no, God's going to save me. God's going to save me. And then he dies, you know, from drowning. And he goes to the gates of heaven and he goes through, and he's sitting there, he's talking to God, and he's like, God, I loved you. I was praying for you to save me. You didn't save me. And God said, I sent a boat and I sent a helicopter. What more did you want me to do? You know, I really, really believe in that kind of God consciousness, you know, that God will put things in my way, actions, choices, things like that. And it's up to me to decipher the rest and decide what I need to do. And I think that's where free will comes into play a lot, you know? When I was like younger, I can remember I was in a relationship and I really wanted it to work. And I was talking to my mom on the phone, and I said something to her about, she was like, I don't know how we got into talking about like prayer with a relationship, but I said, well, I've been praying on it. And she said, well, what have you been praying on? Let me have a sip of coffee. Woo! Look at my new Starbucks cup, isn't it pretty? Anyway, I said, I've been praying on it. And she said, well, what have you been praying on? And I said, I've been praying for it to work. And she kind of laughed a little bit on the phone. And she's like, oh, she was like, sweetie, that's not, there's a fly around here. I apologize. Not that you can notice, but it's flying right all over the place. She said, oh, honey, she was like, that's not how we pray. And I guess everybody prays differently, but I learned a lot from this statement. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, you know, we pray for things like compassion, understanding, love, you know, healing, things like that. She was like, but we don't like tolerance. Like, I don't like the word tolerance because of just how it's been used in my life as a gay man. But I can understand the word of tolerance, you know, the idea of love and tolerance is our code kind of thing. I understand the idea of tolerance. I just don't like that word. But in what she was saying, like, has really helped me in my life, okay? That when I'm going through something difficult, it's very much like the Maya Angelou quote that when you're going through a tragedy in your life, look up and say thank you. because you're about to learn one of the most valuable lessons of your life. And then that goes into like what Oprah used to say about turn your wounds into wisdom, right? And help somebody else. You know, take what you've gone through and help somebody else with that. That is so powerful, I think, you know, when you can help somebody by what you've gone through in your life. Then you see that what you went through wasn't for nothing, you know? But I think about that, and I think about like difficult times in my life that really had no meaning to them, and I look at them and I say, well, I lost this person, or this person passed away, or this difficult time happened, and what for? Like, what was the learning experience from all of that, you know? Well, maybe it was to learn that I was a strong person, or maybe it was to learn that I was going to get through things, or maybe it was to learn that it's okay at times to lean on my higher power and, you know, ask for understanding and compassion and love, you know, even in the hardest of times. I remember when I was about a year sober, and I was out, I was probably about 2 years sober, I don't know, I talked about this on my vlog, and I was out at a club here in town. I had just gone out with a sober friend for like a half an hour to like say happy birthday to somebody or something, and I ran into somebody that was sober as well, and I was drinking a Coke like in a glass, and he like later told all these people that he saw me drinking out, and I was furious. Like, I had all these people come to me and they were like, oh, I heard you were drinking and blah, 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 whatever. And when I found out that it was him, I was like, I'm gonna go off, right? And in talking to my sponsor, at the time, my sponsor said, you're going to do no such thing. Like, you're going to pray for him. And this is where the concept of praying for somebody, like praying for somebody that you don't like to receive what you want in your life, really humanizes them, and you see them through the eyes of love instead of the eyes of hatred and resentment. And it was really this life-changing thing for me. Every day that I had like 3 people at that time that I had to, it's so funny because one person is like a dear friend of mine today, but I had to, per my sponsor, get on my knees every day and pray for the resentment to be removed, and I had to pray for good things to happen to her. And that was hard, you know, like that was so hard to pray for good things to happen to this person that I, you know, had this animosity and resentment towards, but it went away. It went away, and that was like the magic of it all, you know, and I don't know if that was a God thing or if that was me or what that was, but what I realized was the power to have anger and hatred towards somebody was worthless. Like, I didn't want that in my life. It was too strong of a feeling. Put me on an emotional roller coaster. I don't know, I love this meditation. This meditation is great. And I think one of the things I have to do today is I have to remember that in any communication that I'm having with anybody in my life, whether it's, you know, my husband or my best friend or my sponsor or God, you know, that I have to shut my mouth and open my ears and listen. So I love you guys, and let me know what you think about that meditation. I hope you're having a great Sunday, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.